Joy was not just proud, she was extremely arrogant. From the very day she finished university, she carried herself like she was above every other human being. In her late 20s, sharp with her mouth, bold in her behavior, and stubborn in her heart, Joy behaved as if the whole world owed her respect. She believed that because she went to university, she was automatically better than everyone around her, whether they were older, wiser, or more hardworking. Joy came from a family of 3 girls. Her 2 older sisters were already married and living comfortably in their husbands' houses. They had settled down and were respected women in their communities. But Joy felt different. She did not want to settle down yet. She felt too big for that. After university, instead of staying with her family or finding a stable job first, she decided to move to Port Harcourt to build her life. She found a self-contained apartment in Atili, inside a small compound that had only 4 tenants in total. The compound was quiet most of the time. It was not like the noisy big compound where many people lived together. Here, only 4 adults stayed there. Joy, the proud graduate. Blessing, a humble lady who did small businesses and ran errands and did small jobs for people. Adaize, a quiet tailor who minded her business and avoided trouble. Funke, a young working lady who rarely talked too much. Each of them had their own self-contained room, but they shared the same compound space. Even though there were only 4 of them, Joy still felt like she was too big to be staying among them. To her, the other 3 were local people who did not deserve her attention. Every single morning, Joy would come out of her room with her nose high in the air. She would walk past the others like they were invisible. If any of them greeted her, she would either ignore them completely or look at them from head to toe before answering with attitude. She would always brag loudly, even when nobody asked her.
I am a university graduate. I cannot be mixing with people like you. You people don't even know how to reason.
Blessing tried to be friendly with her at first, but Joy shut her down every time. Adaize simply minded her business and avoided Joy. Funke only greeted Joy when necessary, but she did not like her attitude. Most nights, Joy would be inside her room, talking loudly on the phone with her friend so that the whole compound could hear her. She did not care if the others were resting. One particular night, around 10 p.m., when everyone was trying to sleep, Joy was pacing around her room, laughing and talking very loudly. Her voice echoed through the compound. She said on the phone,
Can you imagine that Blessing girl today? That local girl that runs errands and does small jobs for people. She had the guts to talk to me. Me, Joy, a graduate. Not even a graduate, but a computer science certificate holder. Child, don't suffer.
She laughed mockingly and continued. She was even trying to form familiar, like we are friends. I shut her down immediately so she knows her place. She paused, then added with disdain, These people I live with are too cheap and backward. I don't even know what I am doing here with them. They are not my class at all. Inside her room, Blessing heard everything and felt hurt, but she said nothing. The next morning, Blessing came out early to wash her clothes. She set up her bucket and began washing quietly. Blessing was known in the compound as a calm and respectful person. She greeted everyone and avoided trouble. She had greeted Joy many times before, but Joy always treated her badly. That morning, Blessing saw Joy coming out of her room. Instead of ignoring her, Blessing decided to greet her politely again. She smiled and gently said, "Joy, good morning. Do you remember me? We met when you first moved in." Joy stopped abruptly. She turned slowly and looked at Blessing from head to toe with pure disgust. She folded her arms and snapped loudly, her voice sharp and rude.
Remember you? Are you mad? Stop greeting me. How many times will I ignore you before you can get sense? Since you don't want to get sense or understand when someone doesn't want to associate or talk to you, now let me make it straight. Blessing, how many times did I call you? Stop talking to me. I don't need it. Ha!
Blessing's smile disappeared instantly. Before Blessing could even speak, Joy continued insulting her. Joy said harshly, "You people are too familiar. Because we live in the same compound, you think we are friends on the same level.
Get out of my face!"
Blessing felt small and embarrassed in front of Adaize and Funke, who were watching quietly from their doors. She bent her head, picked up her bucket, and went back to washing her clothes without saying another word. Joy hissed loudly, rolled her eyes, and walked out of the compound with an air of superiority. As she walked, she muttered angrily to herself,
These useless tenants think they can just talk to me anyhow. Rubbish people.
Adaize shook her head and said softly to Funke, This Joy has too much pride. One day life will humble her and she will learn in a hard way. Funke replied quietly, She talks too much. Let's just watch. That same afternoon, something unexpected happened. A big, shiny car drove slowly into the compound. It looked expensive and foreign. The three ladies, Blessing, Adaize, and Funke, came out immediately. Joy also stepped out of her room, curious. The gate opened wide. The landlord's son stepped out of the car. He lived abroad and rarely came home, so his presence surprised all of them. He was calm, neat, and carried himself with quiet confidence. He stood in the center of the small compound and spoke clearly to the four ladies. He said, My company is organizing a quiz competition. It will come in 3 stages. Anyone who wins will be sponsored to travel outside the country and work with the company. The 4 ladies went silent. Blessing looked shocked but hopeful. Adaize looked thoughtful. Funke looked nervous but interested. Joy smiled secretly, already feeling superior. The landlord's son continued, I will select 4 ladies from this compound to represent you in this competition. He looked around carefully at each of them. Then he pointed. And of course, all 4 of them were selected because only 4 of them lived there. Blessing, Adaize, and Funke stood quietly. But Joy reacted differently. She burst into loud, mocking laughter. She stepped forward aggressively, raised her shoulders, and spoke with pure arrogance. You people should just clear road. Nobody here can stand me. I am the only real graduate among you. She pointed at the other 3 ladies and continued loudly. All of you are low-life people. Step back because the queen is here. Blessing felt uncomfortable. Adaize frowned slightly. Funke whispered under her breath, This Joy is too much. Joy folded her arms tightly, lifted her chin high, and stared boldly at the landlord's son, as if she had already won the competition. The air in the compound felt heavy. Everyone could feel it. This competition would not be easy, and Joy's unbearable pride might either lift her higher or bring her crashing down.
The landlord's son cleared his throat and spoke again. He said, This competition will not be easy. It will test your intelligence, your character, and your ability to think under pressure. Joy laughed softly under her breath. She whispered loudly enough for the others to hear. Tests? They should be worried about themselves, not me. The landlord's son ignored her and continued. The first stage will take place tomorrow morning at the community hall. You must come on time. Anyone who is late will be disqualified. Blessing nodded gently. Funke looked worried and whispered, Jesus, tomorrow already? Adaize just kept quiet. Joy rolled her eyes and said arrogantly, Please, this is too small. They should have just given me the ticket and finished everything. The landlord's son finally looked straight at Joy. His voice was calm but firm as he said, Confidence is good, but pride can be dangerous. Joy smacked but said nothing. He turned and walked back to his car, entered and drove out of the compound. Immediately he left, the atmosphere changed. Funke turned to Blessing and said softly, This thing is serious. I hope we can do well. Blessing forced a small smile and replied, Let's just do our best. Adaize shook her head slightly and said, I don't like the way Joy is behaving. She talks like she has already won. Joy overheard them. She turned sharply and snapped, Are you people talking about me? If you like, gather and discuss from morning till night. It won't change anything. I will still win. Funke quickly looked away. Blessing stayed quiet. Adaize folded her arms and entered her room without saying another word. Joy hissed loudly and went back inside her room. That night, Joy could not sleep. She kept pacing around her room, talking to herself. She said, They think they can compete with me. Blessing that sells small things, Adaize that sews clothes, and Funke that is just working like a servant somewhere. Let them try. She picked up her phone and called her friend.
She spoke loudly again so the whole compound could hear. Joy said, "Tomorrow is the first stage of that quiz competition. Don't worry, I already won it in my head. Those girls cannot match me. They are not my level." Blessing, in her room, lay on her bed staring at the ceiling. She felt nervous but determined. She whispered to herself, "God, help me tomorrow." Funke was also praying quietly in her room. Adaize sat on her chair, thinking deeply about everything. The next morning came quickly. The sun rose bright over Atili. One by one, the ladies came out of their rooms. Blessing came out first. She looked calm and prepared. Adaize came out next, serious and composed. Funke came out, looking a little anxious. Finally, Joy stepped out. She walked slowly, with attitude, like someone who already owned the victory. She did not greet anyone. Instead, she looked at the others and said with a smirk, "You people better pray hard, because today is the day you will know that you are no match for me." They all began walking toward the gate to go to the community hall. When they arrived, they saw many other contestants from different compounds and streets. Some looked confident, some looked scared, some looked excited. The hall was filled with people. A man stood in front with a microphone. He announced, "Welcome to stage 1 of the quiz competition. You will be tested on general knowledge, reasoning, and problem solving." Joy folded her arms, looking bored. She whispered to herself, "This is child's play." The questions began. One by one, contestants answered. Joy answered many questions correctly at first. She smiled proudly each time. Blessing, to everyone's surprise, was also answering well. She listened carefully before speaking. Adaize answered slowly but wisely. Funke struggled a little but still tried her best. Then came a difficult question. The man asked, "If you are in a position of power and someone below you makes a mistake, what is the best way to handle it?" Joy quickly raised her hand. She stood up and said confidently, "You must show them that you are above them so they will fear you and never repeat it." The hall became silent. The man looked at her carefully. Then he turned to Blessing and said, "Your answer." Blessing stood up gently and said, "You should correct them calmly and help them learn from their mistake, because everyone can make errors." The man nodded slowly. Joy scoffed loudly and rolled her eyes. After more questions, the man finally spoke again. He said, "Stage 1 is over. Not everyone will pass to stage 2. The room became tense. He began calling names. Some people were eliminated. Then he called Blessing. Blessing gasped softly. "Adaize." Adaize nodded. "Funke." Funke smiled weakly. Then finally, Joy. Joy smacked and folded her arms proudly. All 4 ladies from the compound passed to stage 2. As they walked out of the hall together, Joy turned to the others and laughed. She said mockingly, "Don't get too excited. You passed by luck. In stage 2, I would disgrace all of you." Blessing said nothing. Adaize looked at Joy calmly. Funke whispered to Blessing, "She's too proud." As they reached the compound, the sun was beginning to set. The wind blew gently. Joy entered her room without looking back. Blessing stood outside for a moment, staring at the sky. She felt something in her heart, a strange feeling that this competition was not just about knowledge, but about character, and Joy's pride was only getting bigger.